it somehow keeps getting even better for Montreal. As not only is Lane Hutson leading the entire league in rookie scoring, he set a record in Montreal Canadiens history, and a very special record at that already. We got to dive into that. Plus, Kaiden Guhle is also better than you guys think. We have some metrics that prove that he has been likely the single most impactful player for Montreal this season. That plus a note on Alex Barre-Boulet and how he was put on waivers is a lot of stuff we got to get into on this episode of Habs Digest, Jesse. And we're going to jump straight in to ABB. Alex Barre-Boulet. Now, I'm wondering if he's going to get claimed. That is straight up what I'm thinking. Now, last time he was on waivers was in February of last season. So realistically, he's probably not going to get claimed because teams didn't want him then. But he was waived today, probably to send down to Laval, probably because Jayden Struble getting activated, though I don't believe Montreal had to send someone down to make room for Struble. I could be wrong. But regardless, it does suck having two guys sitting out on the forwards every single night, Jesse. I know Pizzetta sat every game, you got Barre-Boulet, whatever. But, I hope that he'll end up playing for Laval because he's a phenomenal AHL player. But this, to me, what this tells me is that Emil Heineman and Oliver Kapanen have proven enough to Marty St. Louis and the rest of the staff that these are everyday guys.
Yeah, for sure. And we definitely wish all the best to ABB.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to feel like he does have a chance to, play in the NHL, even though he's 27. Obviously, the Habs are going with a little bit of some younger options there, but, his skill was, and his speed, I would say most noticeably, was, very noticeable on the ice, but also he was good on the power play, just not very long for us on that second power play unit, right? So obviously I think with the Habs right now, it's just, they're looking to go with Kapanen, they're looking to go with Heineman, but if we could get him with the Laval Rocket, and chances are that he is going to clear waivers here, he's going to really help this team a lot. It's very easy to forget, this guy played 36 games with the Tampa Bay Lightning. This guy is very close to being an NHL level type player, but it just shows the depth of the organization right now. If we could kind of add him to Laval, you have to feel like he would help the depth of that team increase even further.
Yeah, and Laval is, again, a very, very young team right now, with their best players so far this year being Filip Méchars in the forwards and Logan Mailloux on defense. But Barre-Boulet is 30, 35 goal scorer, point per game player in the AHL over his career, basically. So, this guy would come in and immediately be a first-line talent, an all-star level talent for them. So really hope he does clear waivers and ends up getting sent down to Laval where he can dominate down there. Again, like you said, wish him the best. But to me, Jesse, this is some good news for Emil Heineman and Oliver Kapanen because they'll be getting some more power play time, and they both proved that they deserve to be there. So, well, which is the ABB, but I think this is a really, really cool note for the future. But we're going to move on quickly to the next topic here. And I wanted to get into Kaiden Guhle, another young guy on this team. And I know Lane Hutson has been the talk of the town, and for good reason. Lane Hutson, again, like I said earlier, leads the NHL in rookie scoring right now. He has all the highlights, and we'll probably show some later in this video. But, Jesse, when it comes to a guy like Kaiden Guhle, sometimes his impact isn't as visible when you're watching the game. Whereas Lane Hutson is making crazy dekes and he's getting into the offensive zone like nothing. Guhle is still doing some solid stuff offensively, but is also so impactful defensively and impactful in ways that you might not even notice. As right now, this tweet from Simon-Olivier Lorange, he said in 3 games up to right now, Kaiden Guhle has been on the ice for all 6 of Montreal's 5v5 goals. And that, Jesse, translates into him being tied for second place in the entire NHL. And we can almost ignore Vegas because that's what we love to do because they're ridiculous with what they have going on right now. But Kaiden Guhle, in just 3 games with Montreal, Jesse, is a +5. He was on the ice for all 6 5v5 goals for Montreal. He has 22 minutes of ice time, which is more than everyone on this entire list that you see here, except Gustav Forsling. He's a point-per-game player. Not to mention, he also leads the team in even-strength ice time because he doesn't play on the power play. So, out of all players on Montreal, he leads in even-strength ice time. His impact, Jesse, I don't even know if I can say understated because I think people have seen what he's doing. But in all the Lane Hutson hype, it's this guy who has arguably been the even more impactful defender on the whole.
And that's what we see from the traditional type of defenders, right? Where they're sometimes impacting the game in a good way, but we just don't always see it on the score sheet. But with Guhle, he's getting 3 points in 3 games, but yet it's true, Josh, that he's affecting the game in so many ways that we don't see all the time. Of course, there was the block shots last night, but the guys on the team right now, they're joking around. They're saying Kaiden Guhle got launched out of a cannon to start the season. Even with the appendectomy, he was just ready to go right away. He wasn't going to let anything stop him. So it's when we're always talking about okay, which player is going to have a big kind of jump in their progression so far in their development this year, it's so easy to kind of forget about Kaiden Guhle in that conversation when it seems like he's been one of those players to take the biggest jump up, like to be on the ice for every 5v5 goal. Again, he doesn't play on the power play, is just absolutely unreal. And again, like so important for this young Habs team, like taking that young jump up is like so important on those players really being able to improve their game and take it to the next level. So the fact that he's able to do this right now is just absolutely unreal. We want to just see this continue from him.
And he's also seeing a bit of a tick up in his shorthanded ice time. He played more than David Savard in the last game versus Ottawa on the penalty kill. He played less than him in the Boston game, but he's climbing up there as well. And he even said today, Jesse, like you mentioned, the shot out of a cannon thing and that same media availability just today. He said, we're all getting a lot more comfortable on the penalty kill. He said he feels more comfortable than he ever has. And he said he doesn't even have a single bruise from those 8 block shots. Like, he's doing absolutely everything to put his team in winning positions. And we can't even forget on that Cole Caufield's second goal in the Nick Suzuki breakaway, it was Guhle who made the play in front of the net to stop multiple Ottawa shot attempts and make a play so that Slav could give the breakout. Like, there's so many things that almost get slept on for Kaiden Guhle. So next game, keep an eye specifically on him and those little winning plays he makes, because I think you might just be surprised. But the guy that you don't even need to keep a close eye on to see his impact, and that's Lane Hutson. And I know we talk about him every single day, but there's good reason for it, because he's dominating every single day. So we got a few things to show you. First of all, he is leading the NHL in rookie scoring, as I will show you right here. Nope, that's not the picture. This is the picture. 4 points in 3 games. Logan Stankoven is second place. Of course, Celebrini had 2 points in his first games out with injury. By the way, Seamus Casey, another slight draft steal. I think people should be talking about him a little bit more in New Jersey. But Lane Hutson doing that. But it's a Habs record that he set, Jesse, that honestly, like, on the surface, you're like, oh, is that even cherry-picked? It's not. This to me is like a legitimately insanely impressive stat. So this stat that you see here from Stat Center was before they officially credited Hutson with his second assist in last night's game, bringing him up to 6 points in 5 NHL games. So before that, he was tied for first for most assists in a Habs player's first 5 NHL games. But now, after that, the NHL went back and gave him that assist on Heinemann's goal. Lane Hutson, just hear me out now, has the most assists of any Habs player in history in their first 5 games. You can see on this list, more than Guy Lafleur, more than Mats Naslund, more than Alex Galchenyuk. This is, it's almost like, it doesn't feel real. Like, you feel like, oh, there's got to be a mistake, but there's not. This is true. It is Lane Hutson atop this list. Most assists in a Habs player's first 5 games in the NHL. It's not that cherry-picked. It's an insane stat for an insane player.
It absolutely is. And he's bringing confidence to this team as a result of it. Mike Matheson had a presser like just earlier today. He was saying like, it's so interesting, like looking at our roster kind of up and down and then kind of the roster from the other team every night and knowing that we kind of have a chance. And he feels like Lane Hutson is kind of one of those guys that's part of the team that's really helping him make him feel that way. He says like, I think of like a Patty Lane and then I think of like a Lane Hutson, like right after in terms of skill. So the fact that he's getting like this much respect early on in his career is unreal, but we're seeing like the numbers are backing it up, and who knows the game better than the players, right? Who are really giving him this praise as well. Like Caufield had another amazing quote where he's saying like, we're just like, our hips are hurting watching from the bench when he's there doing his fakes, doing his deeks, everything else like that. Again, getting comparisons to his favorite player, Lane Hutson's favorite player growing up, which is Patrick Kane, getting a lot of love. And we're seeing kind of that same electric kind of dynamic game making ability really from him right now. So just absolutely unreal. Just the fact that like, not only is he impacting the team on the score sheet, but also just their mentality of going into every single game, really kind of believing that they got a chance to beat any team that they come up against.
You just made me think of another Lane Hutson nickname. In the stream, if you guys tuned into the stream last night, we were saying, Wayne Hudson, Lane Gretzky. That's maybe a bit of a stretch, but Kane Hudson is not bad either. I think that's, now that makes me kind of think of wrestling. That would be kind of funny too, Kane Hudson. Anyway, whatever, but you're very right. I mean, what he's doing, like the Habs players acknowledge this. I think they realize this guy is creating the most opportunities on the team. There's a reason him and Kaiden Guhle are number 1 and 2 on the Habs in expected goals for, which is kind of crazy. Like, of all skaters, it's those two who lead the entire team in expected goals for. It's nuts. But that's not the only thing, Jesse. There's one final thing I wanted to get into before we end this video, and it's a quote from Martin St. Louis. And before the season started, Marty St. Louis was saying how, Lane Hutson's going to have to learn to do stuff when the puck's not on his stick. But guess what? The puck's on his stick every time he's out there because the players know he's going to make something happen. And St. Louis says it's, one, it's his intelligence. Now I'll talk about the rest of his assets. He's explosive. He can go east to west very, 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 very fast. He's a good concept of space. He got good stick handling, real nice qualities to drive possession. He can make a lot of plays on the ice with his bag of skills, which not only enables him to play, but to find the best play. And to end it all off, he said good players do that a lot. They're able to not only make plays, they're able to make the right plays. And I think that's underrated. I'm going to play the highlight reels. I think we got a Cole Caufield. Oh, no, well, that's a Spurs thing. So I guess I overwrote it. But, we could watch some Spurs highlights. That's not what this is all about. But that quote from Marty, Jesse, to see the transformation and what they expected from Hutson, for him to be even better than they thought, and to see Marty just straight up saying, like, this is a great player. Great players have the puck on their stick. Great players make the right plays. That's what he's doing. And that's why he's already, like, the most clippable player on Montreal and the guy who has created the most highlights so far.
Because he's basically doing everything that he did at the NCAA level, and even in some ways a little bit better. Like, he's benefiting, now I got better teammates to kind of play with. Like, this is just music to Lane Hutson's ears, right? So he's just continuing to be so inventive, so creative. And again, he said, like, post-game, like, I'm learning to see what works. He's kind of in the lab all the time, like, okay, what works, what doesn't work. So just as much as like other teams are going to try and adapt to him, just as much Lane Hutson's putting in that work and just kind of keeping that humble mindset all the time that I'm just going to keep on improving every game, because even though he's off to a historic like start so far, he still wants more.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see what that more looks like. I mean, can he keep up this pace? Wouldn't it, I mean, like, look, I know realistically probably not, but wouldn't it be insane? We were saying, Jesse, before the season that, like, if he wants to be in that Calder race, he's going to need to put up 50 or 60 points. And we're like, because, he's going to have to make up for his defensive shortcomings. Turns out he doesn't even have defensive shortcomings, and he might still put up 50, 60 points. So, I mean, already he's shooting up the Calder race. Let's hear from you guys down below. What do you think of this record? Most assists by any Habs player in their first 5 NHL games. What do you think of Cayden Guhle being so much better than I think any of us even thought when we watched these first 3 games? There's a ton of great stuff going on, and I hope it continues. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Like you guys all know, you subscribed like crazy yesterday, and we really, really appreciate it. Thank you all for 15,000. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.